Turning Pro by Stephen Pressfield. The first time I read Turning Pro, I was working in Wichita, Kansas, and received a package from my younger brother. This book, along with Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, are two excellent books to help find meaning and purpose in your life. Turning Pro is about ditching the path of the amateur and choosing to live your life as a professional. The first part of this book is about the amateur life. What I've done most of my life is pursue a shadow career, a safe career with no real risk and no real consequences to me. And to be honest, I still do this today. But we all have a vision of a higher self that is met abruptly with this apparition of resistance. You see, there is an enemy, and it's you. Resistance will kill you if you allow it. Are you living the drugs and booze half of your musician's life without actually writing any music? The longer you cling to this shadow career, the harder it will be to gather the courage to rally back and pursue what you were really put on this earth to do. Peter Bregman, my favorite author from Harvard Business Review, explains that we must practice being our future selves, even if it seems extremely unproductive at the time. See, we love to be busy, doing things that are familiar to us and repeating processes that we already know how to do. But if your dream is to be a master linguist, for example, and you aren't doing a single thing today that will bring you closer to that goal, you should never expect to achieve it. A sure sign of an amateur is they have a million plans and they all start tomorrow. The amateur life is about drawing attention to yourself, creating a character, a personality. But it's all bullshit. This invisible force we all have is resistance. It's fear, it's doubt, it's self-sabotage. You see, our aspirations are replaced by addictions. Enter a lover, a drink, a bad habit. These addictions distract us from the aspirations that we hold deep in our hearts. The amateur is too prideful to become something great. The truth is, you will die one day. Not only on your deathbed are your friends and loved ones, but also all the talents and gifts that will die with you. Whether you choose to use them or not is entirely up to you. What really ails us is not that we are not happy with our lives and not enjoying things. It's that we're selling ourselves short. We're not performing to the best versions of ourselves. And there's only one way to get there, and that is to turn pro. Stephen Pressfield, when he was 31, he decided to live the life of a professional. He saved $2,700 and moved from New York to a town in Northern California and lived in a home behind a home for $105 a month. He had a Chevy van, a typewriter, and a cat named Mo. On Monday morning, he'd walk to the bank and take out $25, his weekly budget. He didn't hang out, he didn't waste time trying to impress his friends on Facebook. Granted, it didn't exist back then. He simply worked until he ran out of cash. He was lucky because he had an uninterrupted stretch of day after day, month after month, working his shit and fighting resistance. When he ran out of cash, he went to work on an apple farm for a season. Afterwards, he went back to work, and one day he typed the words, "The end." You see, he had finally turned pro. He had defeated resistance. Turning pro is when you finally stop running from your calling and you turn and face it. Your life completely changes when you turn pro. Your structure has changed. Your longevity has increased. You change what you do and you change what you don't do. People's perception of you has now changed. People still fleeing from their fears will try to sabotage you and undermine your efforts. But at some point, you will wake up and have an epiphany. Sometimes these come in moments of great fear or trouble, hitting rock bottom, some people say. But oftentimes they stem from you realizing that you can't let yourself have that one more drink, miss that appointment one more time, or let yourself off easy again. An epiphany can feel like hell. You're naked and you see your true self. In this moment, you have two options. Option 1. Reconstitute all your bullshit and lies. Go back on living the life that you have been. Option 2, you can turn pro. Just like you remember where you were on 9/11, you'll remember the moment that you turned pro. The beauty of turning towards your true calling is that it doesn't matter if you're terrible at first. What matters is you've finally taken the step on the right path. After years of running from your ambitions, you finally sat down and done the work. It might take years before you produce something of true worth, but you'll know in your heart that your intention is pure. Once you start, you'll wonder how you could have ever lived any other way. Once you decide to turn pro, there's a certain mindset that you need to develop and understand fully. The first is that the professional is ruthless with their self. Picasso was once in his Paris studio with the gallery owner where his paintings were being displayed, being sold. The owner couldn't wait to get these pieces into his gallery and start selling them. Suddenly, Picasso took a knife and started slashing his own paintings in a fury. The professional knows when they've fallen short of their own expectations and standards. The professional defers gratification. We all know the story of the children and the marshmallows. The kids who sat for minutes without eating their marshmallow were rewarded too when the examiner returned. But you see, we have the right to our labor, but not the fruits of our labor. The guitar is its own reward, as is the canvas, as is the keyboard. Fuck the marshmallows. The professional does not wait for inspiration. We must act in anticipation of inspiration. If we sit, the muse will deliver. The professional mindset is that of discipline, defeating self-sabotaging habits of procrastination, self-doubt, distraction, perfectionism, shallowness, and instead enlists in order, regularity, discipline, and striving for excellence every day, trying to work closer to the bone. A Marine receives 2 salaries, a financial one and a psychological one. And if you think that your work, if it's not bringing you fame and riches, is a waste of time, well, fuck off. Do it because you can. You're privileged in talents and ability, and the people in the trenches need what you can provide. You are that hero. Failure is a wonderful thing. When I used to play soccer, I really sucked, and my ego prevented me from getting any better. Failure is great because it shows us how much work we still have to do in order to achieve mastery. Failure is only unacceptable when you give up. Don't excuse yourself from your task. Get rid of your ego and your pride. Don't be afraid to ask for help and make mistakes. Get after it. Fail, get up, and then fail again. A practice is lifelong. When you turn pro, your time is truly an asset. You're like a shark who has just tasted blood. There is no finish line. Fuck retirement. It's a joke. Life is the pursuit. The Spartan king was still fighting in armor past 80. Picasso was still painting past 90. And the business owner who turned a $500 in investment into over $400 million was still running their business past 100 years old. In the end, turning pro is nothing more than simply growing up. You are the enemy. You need to get out of your own way and produce something that matters to you. Fuck what everyone else thinks.